Hello, everyone. So we are now on our fourth week in this educational technology course. And for this week, we will be talking about e-learning. Uh, and e-learning is about giving everyone access and opportunities to learn. And I would like to focus on the word access because I would like to start with the Catholic Augustinian Marian values. Uh, and I would like to highlight for this week the value of inclusivity. You see, if we believe that everyone is made in the image and likeness of God, then meaning to say what we should aspire for as a community, as a Catholic, Augustinian, and Marian community is to have everyone included. I like to believe that our study of educational technology is also important in the sense that in this day and age, where, for example, in this pandemic now, where we are physically distant from one another, it would not have been possible had we not all the technology now that enable us now to continue to learn, because now it's not possible for us to be physically close to one another because of the threat of the coronavirus. So schools now are not anymore the place of learning, but we are now in our we are now learning from our respective homes. So um, technology in this sense is a facilitator of inclusion because we make learning possible even without us all going to school or getting inside the classroom to be in a teaching and learning process. So you see, we now have many different modalities that make it possible for our students to learn. And in this sense, this is where we realize that we are also doing this, that our technology has evolved to give us a way where we can exercise our values. And our values for this week is the value of inclusivity or inclusion, which is founded on the idea that everyone is made in the image and likeness of God. So everyone deserves to be educated. Everyone deserves to have access to the grace of God, and education is a grace from God. All right. So, e-learning or distance learning, as we call it, there are many different concepts we need to learn here. First of all, we can learn about the delivery models, and there are two types of delivery models in e-learning. This one is what we call the synchronous delivery model, and the other is asynchronous delivery model. When we do our Google meeting, where we have a live interaction, um, in within a particular period of time, or when you do a task using Google Jamboard or using Google Slides, where you collaborate on the task real time, even though you're not necessarily within a conferencing. But if you work on a particular file where you can see real time the actions that each one of you are doing on that file, like in the case of when we use Google Docs, for example, that is what we call synchronous learning, because synchronous learning is a delivery model where learning happens to different students at one time, even though they are not necessarily in one place. So that's synchronous delivery. The other type of delivery is asynchronous delivery. So this is where learning happens, or the students have the liberty to um, to uh, to read or to do the tasks that are the learning tasks that are designed for them in the module in their own time. So they do not necessarily have to agree on a specific time where they will all together watch or read a particular material or to consume a learning resource, but they can do that on their own time. That is what we call asynchronous learning. When we talk about distance learning, we're also talking about the different strategies that are being used by the teachers to teach. So it's no longer classroom based teaching, but it's a lot of ways of teaching, and not necessarily by having a teacher at the center of the stage, but what we've learned in the learning theories, like for example in constructivism or liberalism, for example, we learned that the teachers can just be the guide at the side instead of being the sage on the stage. So that's also what's happening, for example, in strategies like the flipped classroom strategy. So what a flipped classroom is, it's a combination of synchronous and asynchronous activity. But the idea is that students are given the tasks designed for them by the teacher. What's good with that is it allows for different learning styles because not all students actually learn best by just listening to the teacher. Some of them learn best by drawing, some of them learn best by watching, some of them learn best by reading texts, some of our students learn best by looking at graphic organizers. So flipped classroom allows the teacher to use different types of sources of information to accommodate the different ways our students learn. And it's also good because it allows us to employ what we call the multiple intelligences, where we can tap into the different ways students can express their learning, the different ways in which they can give us an output or create something as a product of learning. So that's a flipped classroom. There's also the collaborative learning and cooperative learning. Collaborative learning is when students collaborate on a project, with each of them having defined roles that they contribute synchronously to the task. Whereas collaborative learning is when students are given the task, just like in collaborative learning, is clear, but the students can do it independently. So that's the basic difference between collaborative and cooperative learning. There are more characteristics of these strategies and delivery models, but that is going to be captured in the learning resources that I will give you for this week. So there's a reading material that I have also posted in our Google Classroom. Well, these are all very good materials where we can learn from about the different delivery modes and about the different strategies in distance learning. So your activity is that each of you, each of your groupings, we still use the same groupings as we did the past weeks, but this time you will not be working on the same topics. If you're going to open our Google Classroom, you will find that there's a specific topic assigned for each group. So what you're going to do is to study the materials that are given to you, and then what I want you to do is to bring to again collaborate and cooperate. I have scheduled an early posting of these materials to give you time to study, to read and watch them if you have time within the day, so that by 5 o'clock you come into your group or for the interaction already with an idea of what you are going to bring into the task. So we still meet at 7 o'clock for our Google Meet. We will have a guest tonight who will join our interaction. We will have Miss Glody Castellon, the program head of the teacher education program, to observe how we are doing our Google Meet. So that's going to be our activity for this week. I'm very excited to hear from you again. I know that this is just a once a week class, and even though we are sometimes extending beyond 2 hours, but I'm glad that you are saying that you're enjoying our class, and especially that you are learning a lot from our interaction. So thank you very much and good luck to all of you for this week. See you.